What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. So what we are hearing today is that both sides of the aisle, both Republicans and Democrats, are starting to give us more insights as to what is going to be in this next infrastructure package. But I want to bring you something that I think is very interesting. We keep on hearing from Democrats one thing, it's very consistent, and they keep saying, well, it is better than nothing. That is the thing we keep getting from multiple Democrats is, let's negotiate this bipartisan bill. All right, we'll accept it because, well, that's better than nothing. Oh, we're going to make these cuts to this particular piece of legislation because, well, that's better than nothing. Well, let's give more discussions on this child tax credit payments. Let's put off stimulus checks. Let's put off unemployment benefits. Let's push off the eviction moratorium because, well, that's better than nothing. That's what we keep getting is, well, that's better than nothing. And I just want to ask you this. Do you feel that the infrastructure package at this time is better than nothing? Or, according to multiple community members here on this channel, just the past 24, maybe 48 hours, many of you have said that the bipartisan infrastructure package does absolutely no good. There's no point to pass it, and it's pretty much passing nothing. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think this is better than nothing, or do you think this is pretty much the exact same thing? I'm curious on your thoughts. Now, we have been hearing from Democrats and Republicans as to what they want to do moving forward. Some say they don't want to spend the previously allocated money from the stimulus package. Well, we are hearing that Republicans, Democrats have both been hiding this. They're hiding the fact that we have additional money. For the longest time, nobody knew we had money. Nobody knew we had additional money. And then guess what? Former President Donald Trump says, well, we have like $300 billion. Let's just use that. And then everybody was like, whoa, we have $300 billion just sitting in account doing absolutely nothing? No, not now. Now, because of what the Democrats have done over the past 6 months and of that $1.9 trillion American Rescue Package, yeah, they put in excess money. There was excess money that we didn't need or many didn't think we would even use. And now we have roughly $600 billion just sitting in an account doing absolutely nothing. And nobody is saying, hey, let's give it to the American people. Nobody is saying that. They're saying, let's spend it on infrastructure. Well, Republicans have been saying that we can, and actually both parties, not just going to blame Republicans here, both parties have been saying that there's no money for additional relief. Republicans said, well, it's just too expensive. We can't afford that right now. Money's just a little too tight. Then we got Democrats told us that Republicans won't give them the opportunity to give more money to the American people. However, over the past couple of weeks, here's what we've been hearing. We started to see more and more about how much money is still sitting from the previous stimulus packages. And now Democrats tell us that this money should not be spent on infrastructure. No, this shouldn't be spent on infrastructure at this time because we're seeing COVID cases increase. We can't spend this money. But Republicans say, hey, this money's sitting here. We have already spent it, but it hasn't been used. Let's reallocate this to the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package. Well, here's where things get really tricky. Right now, Democrats want to take portions of this $600 billion and reallocate that money not to the bipartisan infrastructure package, but to the budget reconciliation bill, that $3.5 trillion Democrat-only bill. So, the information coming out of both parties is just so confusing at this time because it's making it very difficult to figure out who is being serious, who is telling us the truth, and who is legitimately fighting for the American people as opposed to just pushing their own agenda through this so-called infrastructure package, right? And I bet you're getting confused as well. Every single day, I do 2 to 3 videos here on YouTube every single day talking about what's going on with infrastructure, what the U.S. economy is doing, what the government is doing, what they are saying, what they're talking about, what their discussions are about, and what is going on regarding infrastructure and stimulus. The problem is, The talks never stop. They continue 24/7. And to make matters worse, everybody's giving us different pieces of information, and we gotta put it all together. Now, luckily, I'm here to do that for you. The problem is, and if you don't watch every single one of my videos, you're gonna miss like the different pieces, and that's what's making this thing so frustrating. Is and again, it's not your fault. It's Congress's fault. Just pass the bills. Give the American people what they need. Give the American people what they want. Now, and I'll dive into this more on this in a minute, but there's so much stuff going on. Over the weekend, just to give you an idea, things were looking very promising that we were going to get a bill done today. Yeah, today. However, at this point, it's not looking so promising. What we are hearing right now is that Democrats are fighting to see what federal spending for infrastructure will pay. Okay? What it's going to pay. Now, or at least pay for, right? And so here's something that I want to bring to your attention. Right now, some are saying they want to see that the prevailing wages for all federal workers is going to increase with every single job that comes out of this infrastructure package. Okay, well, that's not bad. Increasing wages is not a bad thing. Taking federal funds and putting that into prevailing wage jobs, that's something that we obviously do for our infrastructure and buildings and roads and whatever, right? Makes sense. But Republicans argue that this is not needed at this time. Higher wages are not the problem. Now, this fight is going to continue because this is a wage issue. However, and this is one of the things that we have been seeing, is that the minimum wage provision, even though many are still fighting for this, want to see it increased, the problem is it will be pulled out by the Senate parliamentarian. However, when it comes to prevailing wage jobs and federal funding, okay, providing jobs for roads, bridges, railways, and what have you, that will actually play an impact as to how much is spent and what happens with the federal budget. So that could be included. And some are saying that is just a kind of an entry point, just that opening of the door to get into a higher minimum wage. So we'll see what happens there. But anything that deals with wages, Republicans are going to come back at. So just expect that. And as I know more there, I promise I'll fill you in on those updates. What we also know is that some lawmakers are disputing how billions of dollars are to be spent on the railways, broadband, and mass transit. Many lawmakers say that we shouldn't be spending things like that. We don't need this at that time, right? And so we just go back and forth. Today, Democrats argued that internet access is just not affordable to millions. But let me ask you this. How much do you pay every single month for your internet? It doesn't matter what kind of internet you have. How much do you pay every single month? I'll go first. I pay about $85 per month just to have internet at my home. Just to have it at my home, okay? I don't know what I spend it elsewhere, okay? I don't know, but I do know it's $85 to have it at my home, okay? So, and let me know what you spend it. You know, how much it costs you to have internet, because right now some say it's just not affordable. But remember, we still have that $50 per month internet credit or internet voucher that we can go and use. You just got to go and apply for it. So all you got to do is go to Google, type in $50 internet voucher or $50 internet credit, and it should pop up. It should be the very first one. So lawmakers at this time are arguing over everything within this package. More lawmakers keep putting their own agendas into the mix. This is making things very difficult. Right now, the problem that some are facing is that many want to see how this money is repurposed, how this previous stimulus package funding is repurposed into the next bill. And some say they want to see this money repurposed on their own ideas, their own items. And so that's where things get so mixed up is, okay, well, who really has the authority to put these different ideas into the bill? Every lawmaker does. The problem is the House isn't even being considered at this time, and the Senate, they are so it's tricky at this point because it's split 50-50, but it's so difficult to get anything passed through the Senate because of the filibuster, because of if only one Democrat decides, you know what, I don't support that idea, well, that bill is pretty much done. So that's where things are getting very tricky. But, and I don't know about you, but here's something I just want to bring up. Right now, Congress, okay? They are saying that we need to use these stimulus funds for infrastructure and for whatever else is needed. But some people are saying that no, we shouldn't be touching the stimulus funds because we never know when somebody else or something else might need this. So, do you think that is the case? We should leave the money set aside? Or do you think using it, taking this money and putting it into infrastructure is the right move? I'm curious what your response is. You can always answer down in the comment section below. Now, here's something I find so confusing, and this also goes back to, well, it's better than nothing. Here's what we know. Close to 100 lawmakers have said they want to see monthly stimulus checks sent out to the American people. Great. That is perfect because that's what the American people need, or at least a good amount of people need more money. Many of them were pushing for $2,000 monthly stimulus checks. But what I find so frustrating amongst all the different talks and discussions and bickering back and forth between Democrats and Republicans and progressives jumping in to try to put in their own priorities into this bill is the fact that there's about $600 billion sitting in an account doing absolutely nothing. And lawmakers are fighting over how to spend it for infrastructure, how to divvy it up. Well, none of these lawmakers that we have requested, hey, why don't we take that $600 billion that's just sitting there collecting dust, doing absolutely nothing, and why don't we put that into the American people's pockets? Why don't we give it back to them through, yes, a stimulus check that we've been requesting for quite some time? Nobody's done that. Nobody's asked. Nobody's said anything. Why do we keep on fighting over infrastructure when we know what the American people need? We've heard from many economists that a $2,000 stimulus check, and I'll just use $2,000, not saying it's coming. Again, there's no proposal on this yet. But if, let's say, we see a $2,000 stimulus check to every single American that received the $1,400 stimulus checks, guess what? If we were to see this, a one-time payment, that would bring more people out of poverty. That would allow the American people to go and buy certain products that they need to survive, need for maybe school that's coming up, and I got more news on that in a minute because this is actually pretty important as well regarding school supplies. They're also back on rent payments, car payments. People are losing their assets left and right because they just don't have the money. Well, if the American people have the money and they can spend it, they can put it into retail, they can put it into travel or what have you, this would actually boost the economy. It would boost everything. It would hopefully get us back on track much faster. Well, economists say this is a good option, but nobody's even asking for it. Nobody's really even discussing this. But as I mentioned earlier, okay, and I'm not sure if you picked up on this. If you didn't, then well, hopefully this time you will. Democrats in the House are extremely upset because they are saying that they are being told to pretty much stay quiet. Don't say anything. Don't offer your input. Just stay quiet. Let the Senate get the bill done. They're being asked to simply accept the bipartisan infrastructure package the way it is, vote on it, and pass it. That's what they're being asked. Senators are saying that later on, the representatives in the House, mainly Democrats, can get their different agendas into the next bill, but it would be the next bill. But again, is this really going to happen? Right now, nobody really knows, but if you ask me, probably not. It's not going to happen because the Senate is the one that's going to be really tricky to get it passed. The House, the Democrats within the House should have the numbers to get a bill passed, especially through a budget reconciliation. But again, we will see what's going to happen as we move forward. What we do know right now is that multiple senators have said that they support additional stimulus to the American people. Bernie Sanders, he was one of the main people that did propose this over the past year. But as of right now, we don't know if this is something that he's going to bring up again. We don't know if this is something that's going to be in the next package. But like I have stated over the past month or so, this is something that we've heard from multiple reporters and different Democratic aides in the Senate, is that right now Democrats are simply waiting until the last minute to add other stimulus into the package because they understand if they wait till the last minute, it's more likely to stick as opposed to adding it now and then lawmakers fight to pull it out. So We will see. But until this actually happens, until we actually see lawmakers push for additional relief to the American people and possibly a stimulus check, honestly, we don't know if it's going to happen. But in other news, and these are both extremely important. In other news, Dr. Anthony Fauci stated today that a new mask mandate is under active consideration. I've been saying this over the past week. Mask mandates are expected to come back over the next 3 weeks. Probably by the middle of August, we will see more mask mandates across multiple states. And possibly, we might see that the CDC comes out and says, hey, all vaccinated and unvaccinated people need to wear a mask all the time. But again, once we have more information on that, I promise I'll fill you in on that update as well. Many are saying that the U.S. is headed in the wrong direction. Some experts say that they anticipate the mask will be required within the next few weeks. California is now mandating that state workers and all healthcare workers now have to show proof that they have received the vaccine, or they will have to be required to do a weekly COVID test until they get the vaccine. So it's not, hey, you either get the vaccine or you take a weekly COVID test until the pandemic is over. No, the statement is you either get the vaccine or you take the test until you get the vaccine. So what does that say? It's pretty much go get the vaccine, because at some point it will be a requirement. But however they deal with that, honestly, we don't know. But because of all this talk on COVID, because of all these issues we're having with manufacturing and the supply chains and everything in between, here's what we're hearing regarding some upcoming shortages regarding school supplies. The Education Department is saying that right now, do not wait around to get your school supplies for this year. We saw shortages last year. We will definitely see them this year. Some of the things we are expected to see a shortage on are things like backpacks, shoes, laptops, and even notebooks. Those are the things that we're hearing about. Experts say that not only will the supply shortage last probably a few months into the school year, but prices are most likely going to increase, making it more expensive and harder to get the right things for your children. So if you are making purchases right now, then that is actually a good idea, because if you wait too long, there will be shortages, there will most likely be no supply, and you will be stuck with nothing. So if you guys have any questions on any of this stuff, please ask your questions down in the comment section below. Again, I just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Monday. Consider subscribing so that I can continue to keep you updated on everything that's going on, and I'll see you guys on the next one.